All right, everybody, it's time to get started. Welcome back to another Techno Saturday. I'm John Selway, and this is 343 TV. This is actually the end of a season. We're going to take a little break. I think I'm the last show before we take some time off. And anyway, glad to be here. This is always one of my highlights of the week. I like to come on here and hang out with everybody, and I've been having more guests on lately, and it's really been great to connect with people and have interesting conversations about music. And I don't know, it's part of our whole thing with 343 Labs to, reach out, grow the community, get people involved in what we're doing, and to share with you what we do for the school. 343 Labs is a music production school online and in person. We have locations in New York City and in Berlin at Riverside Studios. I can't wait to be able to travel again and get over there and see that setup. It looks really nice. So yeah, that's what we're here to do. And if you're interested in learning more about 343 Labs, check out the description. We've got links to whatever you need to know, the website for the German school, the website for New York. We have a Discord server that is growing constantly. We have events going on, beat battles, sample challenges. You can come in and get feedback for your tracks, meet like-minded musicians and producers. And, I'm in there. The other instructors from 343 are in there. And, come on in. And if you haven't already, we're getting really close to 10,000 subscribers here. We'd love to break that number. So please subscribe and, get the notifications, give us a reaction. However you're feeling, let us know. And I didn't get the word on whether we had a giveaway this week. Perhaps Thomas from 343, if there's a link to throw in the chat, please do that, and then we'll get that information out to you. But we usually do have some kind of a giveaway each week, and announce the winner by the end of the show. That's, what I need to start with. And enough about business. Let's acknowledge the chat a little bit. We've got a lot of regulars in here. John H. Kingston III from Rockaway Park, New York, is inevitably one of the first in. Schmur Records, that's our friend BPMF, Jason Shostek. And, of course, a couple of my guests are in here. Luminous Cloud was bringing up some music by an old friend of ours, Dietrich Schoenemann. He had a label called Remains, and Hidden Agenda, right? Hidden Agenda was another label that Dietrich did back in the day. Welcome, Taylor, Samuel. Who else is in here? Joe Traband. Hey. Daniel from IntelliGel is back. Happy Saturday to you. I'm really happy to see you come back in here. And you had a comment that I didn't respond to last time about doing more videos with people talking about production techniques and things like that. The last couple of episodes I've had more of a conversation thing, which is also today. That's what Techno Friends is about. But I just wanted to let you know that coming up, we are going to do some more kind of presentations and production techniques and things like that. So stick around for that in our next season when we get started. Hello, Kai. I think I recognize your name, Kai Struckel. Hello. Max Wild, our leader here at 343 Labs, is in the house. JD, Mystic Moth, Lies Society, welcome back. And Truncate. Truncate is in the house. Nice to have you here. You are very welcome. Now, enough of that. Let's bring my guests in. Got some fine techno friends joining me today from Chicago. We have Hiroko, Yamamura, DJ Hyperactive, and DJ Submerge. Welcome. How you guys doing?
Good.
Very good. Thank you for having us.
The drums, yeah. Right before we were getting ready for the show, we start hearing you're in your studio, right? You're in a building with other musicians, and some guy is practicing, I guess.
Yeah, he was pounding the shit out of them.
Well, we'll see.
We let us swear.
This ain't for kids. It's fine.
Okay. Oh, you broke the rules already.
No worries. We're all grown-ups here.
I don't want to get anything defunded.
Oh, no worries. I mean, monetization, whatever. Actually, what happens is if I use my own music in the intro, which I do sometimes, then the school can't monetize the video because my music is in it. So I'm actually making the $2 or whatever that it earns.
Nice. Price of fame.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, it's a little side hustle I got going on here. So I'm really glad that you guys are, originally I just invited Hiroko, and then she had the idea to bring, you two in as well. And this is the most guests I've had on a show, I believe. So which is great. And I don't know, you're all from Chicago and you're all techno producers, and, people think about techno. Techno is kind of a global style, right? It's not nowadays, it's become a global style, but then there are also different cities with different styles of techno that are associated with, obviously Detroit being kind of like a birthplace, but Chicago has been a really like close part of the story since the beginning, right? So I thought that was something we could talk a little bit about. And of course I want to check out some of your music. You sent me some tracks to listen to. Actually, speaking of music, I was checking out one of, oh geez, my browser's already giving me trouble.
Nice.
I was checking out one of your early tracks from the 90s, which is kind of fun, just to set the tone a little bit. This one we got here, Chicago. This is just super appropriate for what what the vibe is today.
Super stripped down.
Right?
Are you anyone keeping count?
Count of what?
Like how many times he said Chicago in there?
We're gonna have to listen to the whole thing to.
Right.
You could probably figure it out with some math. Like, what's the BPM? What's the length?
We'll get down to maybe 2, give or take.
I'd like to see the lyric sheet for this track. I think it'll be pretty deep.
Is this even distributed digitally nowadays? Is this available to download?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I did it as a compilation on 4-track. So this was Contact Records.
4-track is your label?
It is, yeah.
Your current label?
It's current, yeah.
Did you run Contact as well?
Yeah. It was a P&D deal through the UC guys at the time. So when vinyl was flourishing,
when you could sell thousands without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
I missed that.
Yeah, I don't know what the final number. I should have kept a little closer tabs on how many we sold. This was probably up there. Reptilian Tank too.
Was UC like straight up with you about numbers and stuff like that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. There were regular. They ran it pretty professional.
Nice.
Statements, royalties. Yeah, it was good. It was as good as a Chicago guy could ask for it.
It's good to know that they don't follow the sort of the stereotype about some companies we've heard about and some labels we've heard about from Chicago. I'm glad that they're straight up.
Yeah. No, they did. Sadly, I don't want to go down a sad path, but one of the founders passed away some years back, right before I moved to Cali from Chi,
Oh, you were in California?
Yeah.
But then you went back?
Yeah, I was there almost 17 years.
How's the volume, by the way? You guys can, everybody can hear us speak over the music, hopefully?
Yeah.
Just give us a little shout in the chat. I think it's loudest in my headphones, to be honest. But I'm out here, I'm in here rocking out. You listen to a track like this, and this is straight up, like, for me, just a Chicago Jack track. It's got that feel.
Yeah.
So,
acid stuff,
So how would you quantify that? What makes a track have that feeling?
Gosh, it's one of those things, and I think we'll kind of have Joe elaborate it a little bit more. But Chicago had a lot of crossover with house here, right? So, for me, kind of being like the third wave DJ, not really there at the beginning, but as a consumer, I think Chicago techno really kind of embraced house and this kind of like tracky attitude crossed both barriers, and I think DJs here really almost didn't distinguish between the two. But a lot of what I listened to coming up and as a raver was definitely Hyperactive, and he kind of defined a lot of the sound for us here.
I would agree, because I was preparing for this week. I was going back and listening to old tracks. I didn't dive into my vinyl. I have like piles of records that are disorganized. It would have taken me forever, but it's so easy to just go on YouTube and look up some stuff. And I was remembering tracks that I used to play, records that I have, and how much you could get, Joe, out of just like one synth or maybe two and a drum machine, and how much groove and how much energy, right?
Yeah.
That you can get out of a little bit. And you know, it's not minimal. You know what I mean? It's got power, but it is minimal in that there's just a few elements.
Yeah, I think maybe it was just because I probably couldn't do a whole lot more.
That's part of it.
No, I mean, it's just the approach, right? It was a little more stripped down, and stuff could kind of breathe and live and not just overproduce stuff. I could go down with the minimal loop. I could get lost forever just with that. So try to find a complementive piece to add a layer on top is probably just not me, you know. It's a little more on the minimal
and
side
I think you still kind of keep it stripped down. I was listening to some of the new stuff you sent me. I'm mixing one in right now.
Yeah. I sent that one because that was after I had been in Cali for, you know, that was maybe 2008. So that was a real kind of a dark time.
This is already 12 years ago or 13 years ago.
Jeez.
Yeah. It's
Music
hard to believe
Box.
that.
If anyone wants to know, this track's called Music Box, and the last one was Chicago. In case you didn't figure that out.
Yeah.
Let's check out the chat a little bit. The first thing, Dave Robson says, the first thing that springs to mind when Chicago is mentioned is raw jacking house, kind of like Relief Records.
Yeah.
But I would say, you know, what Kashmir was doing, whether it was house, but sometimes he really veered a lot into techno as well. There's always some crossover, for sure.
For sure.
And then there's another interesting comment here. Where did it go? Jink74 thinks acid and jack are different. How would you describe the difference?
Yeah, I mean, the jack and stuff was more beat tracks, right? So it was real irky jerky, minimal, just kind of, you know, repetitive in essence, right? Acid had a little more of a story with it, you know,
Sure.
but it still had jack and beats in it. So
and you can do both at the same time.
It. Oh yeah, totally. That was kind of what we played back then, you know.
Yeah, I think especially now you're seeing a lot of producers kind of bring those two elements in together, and it's still a really modern sound. And I think it was kind of ahead of its time. You're timeless, ahead of its time.
I think
so.
For me, it was more shuffle. It was more like shuffling beats, like there was like this swinging beats, and it was off a little, but always still on time.
Right. Well,
the real irky kind of jacking, swinging. Yeah.
What's amazing?
Sure.
It's informed by house music.
Sure.
You know?
It's got, and what's amazing for me is you can evoke that feeling with only a kick drum and a hi-hat. How do you do? And that's a hard thing to pin down. I would say, like, if you're learning how to make beats and you want to make a track that's jacking, you have to pick the right sounds too. Like, not just any kick or any hi-hat. I mean, obviously the 909 can do it, right? But even then, like, you got to mix it.
808 didn't have a swing on it, so it was really just the real.
But I'm not even just talking about swinging in terms of timing, like pushing every other beat over so it's, you know, later.
Yeah.
But just like the contrast of the two.
It's like, you know, the sound of the hi-hat and the sound of the kick, the shape of the drums are as important for that feel. And, you know, even that's what I'm saying, like right away in that old track we played earlier, just in the beginning, all you hear is a kick drum and a hi-hat basically. And it's already jacking. You can already kind of start feeling it's going to swing, but even though it's just those basic elements, and it's the sounds. Let's see what's going on in the chat. I feel like we should, like, you know, make this a conversation with everybody. AQRS Ivanovich, Derek Carter jacked my world back in the days. And all right, we're definitely over in house territory now, but he's definitely still killing it, isn't he?
Yeah, Derek is a staple of Chicago and really kind of one of the greatest DJs in the world. Like, I will always stand behind Derek Carter. Never seen a set of his that I've not enjoyed.
Yeah.
Really amazing human. And just like an excellent ambassador for Chicago and the sound. And he's actually made some excellent techno records. So don't sleep on those.
Got it. Can you remember anything?
I can't remember the name of anything ever.
So. You're gonna have to go.
That's gonna be
through the
Google.
records.
Yeah,
I got to think about that. I want to say there was some stuff in the '90s that was kind of a little more on the techno side, if I recall. But I can't remember. What's the name of the label that he used to do? Anyway,
that's a joke question.
We'll think about it. Where would Two Seth is a regular of ours here? He is asking, where was Jack born and where did the name come from? Like, how does this? What is this term? How did it start?
That was just the beat tracks. Right when they were getting from disco into the electronic Chicago house. That was just the name, the nickname for it, right? Just the swinging, shuffling.
It's a feeling, just like they say,
tracks,
house is a feeling. That Jack is a feeling in the groove.
Oh, yeah.
Even Truncate asks, why is it called Jack?
Yeah,
because it feels like
Chip. We might need to ask Chippy.
Yeah, we might have to go back another generation or two. We're talking about the elements of Chicago rhythm in not just techno but also in house, and it all ties together. So good questions to think about. And this is the kind of stuff that's, we talk about a lot on the show here, these kind of fundamental ideas. A lot of the people, following 343 Labs are new producers, people who are getting into doing it for the first time, learning how to make beats, learning how to make tracks. And a lot of people sort of in newer generations than we are. So I like that you guys are here to share your perspective on all of that stuff.
Yeah, kind of in Chicago growing up, house really is a foundation, and it's everywhere, right? We have it on the radio, especially in the 90s and whatnot. So you are constantly informed by it, even if you're not necessarily a quote unquote house fan. You're listening to it everywhere you go. The commercial radio stations have Bad Boy Bill and Tim Spin and Shomer and all these kind of amazing DJs that can mix regularly during prime time. So it's just part of your makeup, whether or not you recognize it or not.
I think I would agree with that. New York doesn't have that in the same way. We have hip hop, which is New York's culture. In a similar way that house became to Chicago and techno became in Detroit. Of course, you guys have hip hop as well, but I realized one of the tracks you sent me, Joe, was a remix of Truncate, and as Truncate is here, this is something newer, I guess.
Maybe 2011.
Okay.
12, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Are any of the tracks you sent brand new or unreleased?
No, it's all previously released stuff.
Oh, that's okay. What are you working on just nowadays?
Some new stuff. Yeah. Newer stuff, for sure. Finally in the studio so I can get focused. And
all right, you just moved in there recently. You're in the same building with Hiroko?
Yeah, she's in the basement.
He's upstairs. You and Orlando, didn't you just remix one of Joe's tracks?
Yeah. Well, it's an old track, the Soul remix.
Oh, yeah. The Soul remix. Yeah, we did that for Legal Alien. Yeah.
And that had a nice vinyl release and stuff.
It did.
Pretty great release.
What was the label for that?
Here.
Illegal Alien.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's run by Ricardo Garduno, and I think there's a Mark Broom remix on there too, right?
Yeah, they're real good. All the mixes are good. I play them all.
Mark Broom is definitely someone whose name has never gone away and is still consistently killing it. Wouldn't you say?
Amazing producer.
I love his stuff. I just noticed he's been doing these little videos playing on some Electron machine. I want to say it's an Octatrack or something, but so just one machine, but he's got his loops set up and his parts set up in really clever ways, and he's using a crossfader to do his transitions, and it's amazing how much intricate change he can get out of just this one box. It says something about the machine, but it also says something about the guy that's using it. It doesn't sound like one machine. It sounds like a whole polished arrangement with a bunch of stuff in it.
Octatrack is basically a DAW.
Right.
If you really focus on that box with all of its MIDI control and scene changes, and you properly map all your CCs, that thing you can get everything done out of that box. But it's a lot of preparation and kind of getting used to that Electron workflow. But if you are looking, it's such a great machine. I wish they'd update it.
I had a Digitact, and I like it. I was using it with the live set with Jason Shostak for a little while. We were trying to get our Synapse thing going again. But I sold it and I got the Digitone.
Digitone is great.
I really like FM synthesis a lot. And I'm like, all right, samples, I can do samples in Ableton Live. I'm still doing a hybrid setup with the DAW, and the audio and drum samples can be in the DAW. If for live, I realized I prefer like drum machine, like actual like 909, 808 style drum machine, and I like the roll-in workflow. I should have gotten. I have a lot of borrowed gear. I have Jason's TR8 here. I like that.
Nice.
I use that for live.
Yeah, the Digitone's probably like the grimiest little FM box you can get. It's just.
Oh, have you seen the Mega FM? Speaking of grimy FM.
Is it dope?
Twisted Electronics. I did a video on it. It's a module, and it's like hands-on FM. There's no menu diving. It's just there's like a fader or a control for everything, and you can tweak it like you tweak like any analog synth.
Yeah,
and
modeling
it has a
an FM though
lo-fi, dirty, crunchy sound because it's using the chip that was used in the Sega Genesis.
Oh, nice!
It sounds amazing. Yeah, I really like that.
Sounds expensive.
A little bit. It's kind of a boutique-y sort of thing, but not too crazy. I want to say it was like 400 something euros, which is not bad. Not bad. But then I got the Digitone. I haven't spent enough time with it. I'm still like in a different workflow in terms of sequencing.
Yeah, the best thing you can really do is treat that thing like a groove box, right?
Yeah.
Each voice that's on there can be bent per step. So you can use one voice on a track and do your entire drum pattern on a single voice, use the other voices for separate things, and it's using that alone. It's been a really great thing.
So you can switch samples that are on one track, right? Like you could have.
Yeah. So they have this thing. It's so you build up your sound banks, right? So you kind of make your sounds or mess with presets, which is what I do. I can't really model anything in there. Just kind of go backwards from presets, load them into your sound bank, and then per step you can load each particular sound and it will jump in. Sometimes there's some transient between each step. If it's like a kick to a hat, there's going to be kind of a voice bend, but that's kind of what's interesting about that box. So you can really get 128 different sounds per track on there if you want to. And then you have micro timing per step, so you can really kind of smush everything left to right. Like just using that one box because it's generative and FM is like that's the one thing I took home from the studio during lockdown. It's a really cool thing.
Just the Digitone.
So, just the Digitone. Right. Got a lot done with it.
I need to give myself some time to get to know it better. That sounds awesome. We're talking about hardware and stuff now, which is great. BPMF has been talking about he wants more Hyperactive Live. He wants Hyperactive Live on Shmertronics on his live stream.
Oh man.
Are you doing any of that, Joe? Are you actually doing any performing or jamming with the hardware?
Not right now, but
why not?
Yeah.
Last time I saw Joe play, he pulled out how many 303s did you have with you? Like 4?
I don't know. What he did those 303 symphonies, I was never part of that, but it was kind of a hot mess from what they were telling me.
That's not the real thing. I have a real thing in the other room. That's just the boutique version. But I just had a thought. We were talking a little bit about what Speedy J has been doing with his networked synced live performances.
Yeah.
You're going to give me the secrets, right?
Well, I gave you a link to the video we did here.
I watched it.
Yeah.
I watched it today.
And it was mainly, using Ableton Live with plus a plugin to do the synchronization. But you could easily send clock out from there to any hardware you're using. We should do it. And you just mentioned 303 Orchestra. Wouldn't that be a fun, ridiculous live stream to do? Just as many 303s as we can get all over the world, all synced up. That would be crazy.
Let's get it around the world and back. Yeah,
why not?
That's cool.
Absolutely. But yeah, Ninjam it's amazing. I mean, what is really crazy is how long it's been around and available, and the only people that have been using it are like, noodly rock bands and jazz musicians and, people playing guitars. And not that that's bad, I'm not dissing that, but like no one ever tried until recently, I think, that I am aware of, to do like, techno or whatever. But it was really smart of Joachim to jump on that during our times.
Yeah, he was trying to hide that from me.
Yeah, they were trying to, but when the first time I saw him do that, I already kind of like, I think I know what this is, because I'd heard of it before. I just never, and I did my research and I figured it out and I tried it and I'm like, yep, that's got to be it. And then finally they gave up. They finally admitted, yes, this is what we're using, and now it's okay to talk about it. I don't know. You've been pretty quiet over there, Orlando. Should I call you Submerge? Or yeah?
No, Orlando's good.
He's kind of shy.
Yeah, you're just.
I'm not that shy. Come on, we were talking about Godzilla earlier and King Kong. I mean,
that's more fun. Did you I haven't watched that yet. Have you guys watched that new one yet?
Yeah, I just watched it last night.
Yeah.
Is it good? Should I let my kids watch it?
Yeah, I think it's a kid-friendly movie.
Like for an 8-year-old, you think?
Yeah, they'll probably drop kick you afterwards or something, but it's worth it.
You guys have been all right. Hiroko, you sent me a track. Is this one of yours or something you're doing with Orlando?
The stuff I sent over is the stuff Orlando and I have worked on. Orlando's been really instrumental in kind of showing me a lot of production stuff and, really dialing in sound, and he's really a studio genius. So, he's like the dude here. So it's been really amazing.
Quiet but dangerous.
I think this one was a lot of fun that we worked on, and it actually got pretty popular. I think a lot of
and Truncate remixed this later.
Yeah,
nice. XSBE 8086, is that the actual title?
It is.
There's always some funny meaning behind every title. So.
What's the meaning?
It's some stupid joke that you don't want to know.
Yeah, I think the name of this EP was called Uncommon Enemy, which was based off Spectre Man, which is one of the episodes on there. And it's funny that we're talking about that and Godzilla and King Kong and all of those monster movies.
Yeah, I think we were joking around a little bit before we started streaming about how nerdy we all can be with like the media and then the fact that we make techno and we're and I think it all kind of. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by your hypnotic groove. It just totally took a thought right out of my brain.
Yeah, that's right.
That's how nerdy I am.
It's about like futurism and technology and all these things crossing paths. So I think it's kind of like a natural thing. And so I find that most of the other artists that I end up being friends with, we're all big nerds underneath it all. So
this has got a different vibe. Like it's dark, it's kind of moody, but it's still jacking. There's that clap. Anytime I make tracks with Christian Smith and we want it to be jacking, he's like, put a clap on the beat. And it totally works.
Or right before it.
Or the offbeat syncopated. That it kind of gives the same emphasis but a little more funk.
Orlando usually removes my claps because there's just too many and he thinks they're conventional. So he's very creative about that stuff.
Yeah. Very particular.
I'm particular about hi-hats, and I actually learned that from listening to Joe's records. How he would just like shuffle different hi-hats and just make just have all these different patterns and really change. It didn't have to be the same pattern; it could just change up. And I think I learned a lot of that from Joe.
Thanks, man. Never told me that.
Joe's your mentor.
Yeah, I went to raves watching them. So
yeah,
Joe's like the mentor to Chicago, and like I can't stress this enough how much he really kind of established the Chicago sound. And like it's not often that you have artists that kind of establish something and they're still dominant in their field, in their city. And I think Joe's like a really excellent example of that. And Orlando as well. Like the two of them have really kind of just they've been the dudes here for a while, and I've really looked up to everything they're doing.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Very uncomfortable. Awkward.
Yeah, that was an underhanded insult in there somewhere.
Yeah, I know it.
You guys are, I have to say, for all the warning you gave me, you have been playing nice today. I haven't, I know you guys can get into it sometimes.
Yeah, I usually don't wake up till like 5 p.m. on Saturday.
Oh, I see. So you're still, it's still a little early in the day for the quick cutting comments
it'll
trash
happen.
talking.
And we're texting each other right now, like nasty stuff.
Oh,
so.
I see. There's some back channel communication going on.
Of course.
Shots are fired when it's before noon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. If these guys text me before noon, so their favorite thing is to wake me up with like repeated texts, and then I'm in like a special mood for the rest of the day.
They're throwing you off your game.
I think we're texting until like 3.
Oh man. We'll crank it up in a little bit.
Yeah, I'm drinking my Coca-Cola.
We're behaving. We're behaving.
I think Joe had sent us a text earlier this morning letting us know that New York's an hour ahead. And
yeah, you guys were a little late for our warm-up. I was no, I mean, nowadays I'm super extra careful about setting the stream up and making sure the technical aspects are all there. And
I oversleep stuff all the time, so I'm glad I woke up.
You made it. We're good, and things are solid today. It looks good, sounds good. Yeah. Let's check in on the chat. People are enjoying the conversation, and our good friend Jason, BPMF. We all learned a lot from Joe. Billboard shot liked the point you just made, Hiroko, and meme queen destroys. You are something of a meme expert, I would say. That's something you do on your social media pretty actively.
Yeah, you know what it is? It's like, especially during non-DJing, non-touring, it's strangely kind of like the same vibe, right? Like these like really terrible passive-aggressive images, but like you're all kind of watching them together, vibing off this like silly picture, and I know it's kind of been therapy for me, and at the same time, like just a way to like, I don't know, do something during lockdown. So it's been enjoyable, and I appreciate everybody that goes on there and sends me memes, and we kind of laugh about our misery together. So
how do you find your memes? I'm sure a lot of people ask you that question.
It's easy.
I steal them all.
Just go. Oh. I thought you meant how do you find her posts? Yeah. Never mind.
Yeah, people actually, what's funny is some of the stuff is, of course, kind of a darker tone, and
I like
initially
your dark sense of humor.
A lot of people would, check in with me, and they'd be like, "Yeah, are you all right? I'm really worried about you." Blah blah blah. I'm like, listen, this is
that was intentional.
It's entertainment. And then now those same people send me memes, and they're like, "There's no way I can post this on my social media. You have to post this. I'll get in trouble for it." So now it's kind of this dumping ground of like things that would look bad on your page. I'll post them on mine. So
do you try to find them before?
I'm sorry, Landon?
Oh, do you try to find them before they become viral? Is that your thing?
It doesn't matter. Right, like if it's funny or if it's like a mood, then I'm into it. But I post old stuff too. It doesn't.
Okay.
Really
what about the Pequeña Hillary Hulk?
That's a classic.
That's
a classic. we don't bring that up. That's like, yeah, we watch these YouTube video clips together that kind of give us energy, but that's not really for the time. That's a little dated.
That's all right. All these things we do to kind of get through our separation and our lockdown situation. Imagine doing all of this right now, being in these circumstances pre-online, pre-social media. Like the fact that we can do this right now is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm just, okay, what would we be doing if it were in the 90s and we had a pandemic? We'd be like faxing each other, or like, I mean, there's early email. There was some email back then, but we'd just be on the phone all the time, right? We'd just be like party line.
Yeah, 976 party or
exactly.
something.
We'd all be coming up with like, dial in to hear me DJ and on the phone. Like, there would
AOL group.
At least we can, the whole overload of streaming DJs now it's kind of a thing. It's a little bit too much, I would say. It's like we're reaching a high saturation level because now anyone can just be there broadcasting. But at the same time, it's really important that we're able to have that outlet.
Are we allowed to promote anything?
Absolutely. Yeah.
What do you sell your wares?
What are you doing? What are you working on?
I don't know. The timing is bad to say anything.
No, just sell it.
No, the disorder.net. There's another collaborative
streaming tonight?
crew streaming tonight live. Yeah.
Disorder.
Yeah. DISSOR2ER.net. 2 S's.
I'm looking at it. I'm going to check it out.
So those are the residents on there. And then I'm part of Cisco's technoclub.net.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Cisco, the Advent.
Yeah. Cisco, the Advent. Yeah. And someone was talking about hidden agenda and combination research, which we all know.
Oh, nice, Joe. Nice page.
Looks like their Twitch embed isn't needs to be fixed. It's a nice graphic.
Maybe just go to disorder.net. Sorry.
No, that's it.
That's it.
That it? Oh. All right. Well, hey. You have a visitor.
Hi.
There's a small human behind me. What's up?
Awesome.
No, that's right. She's getting taller every day. She's
very tall.
You're 5'2" almost now, right?
So
she's stream bombing. My daughter is stream bombing.
That's amazing. So, as Joe mentioned, Cisco from the Advent had invited Joe and Orlando ended up inviting me over to this new thing we're doing called technoclub.net. And the great thing and the differentiation between this streaming site is it's paying royalties to producers. So we record every week what kind of tracks we're playing, and it's important that we recognize producers and what they're doing. And so the proceeds off the feed go directly to the producers and then the DJs.
That's
right.
Excellent.
So it's we're trying to kind of flip the model on that one and not treat the tracks that DJs are playing as kind of this disposable thing, right? Where you have these Twitch streams with these thousands of viewers and it's all about the DJ and it's not necessarily about the track. So that's kind of hopefully an idea that picks up.
So
yeah, it's good. So yeah, it was something that he'd been asking to do, the concept for it. So yeah, he had to step up when he was asking for to participate. Disorder is really just a collab of some locals that really didn't want to have a format, so the format was no format. So I'm free to play whatever I want, and that's how I want it for me personally. So
does that mean more than just techno?
Yeah, house, some acid stuff, whatever, old jack and stuff.
Nice.
You never know what's going to happen tonight.
What time are you playing, Joe?
I think I'm 9 Central. So it's a little bit earlier. It doesn't get too crazy, but yeah, it starts at 5.
Wait, is that tonight or no?
Tonight.
Oh, awesome.
Tonight.
That's great.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to check it out.
Yeah.
Orlando, are you doing Techno Club tonight?
Tonight, yeah.
What time are you playing?
Yeah.
I think I'm
6,
on
7?
like 6 or 7 o'clock, yeah. A little
good.
bit after you, maybe.
Good, they can do both.
So what room? You guys are in the... Is it Pinnacle?
We're in the white room.
Oh, you're white room too, just a different weekend. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're all in the white room. But
I think Dearborn has a
we're
weekend.
this weekend, and then we're next weekend.
Yeah.
Got it.
And then Mike Dearborn does the other stream. So it's kind of like the Chicago thing.
Yeah, the white rooms. Yeah.
That's the theme of today. So Max Wild, he's one of the 343 guys, has a question for you. If you have advice for young producers trying to get started or break in or break through today, like under our current circumstances, what's the best way forward? Who wants to answer that first? I don't know. I'm going to ask Joe.
Start.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt.
I'll go last. No, I'll go last. Go ahead.
To get started, I think the biggest advice I'll give people is if you're going to put your product forward for consumption right, versus kind of your own usage, I would make sure that what you're presenting is something you want to present, right? It's like anything else in the world. If you're emailing a label or sharing it with an artist, you kind of get a single shot first impression with some of that stuff. And one of the mistakes I made early was I sent some really horrible songs that at the time that I thought were great, and maybe kind of ruined my chances with some labels. But at the same time, it's if you are creating, there's no sense in not sharing it. So I would get that out there. If you feel like the track is done, I would share that. Right? There's no chance. There's no reason to keep holding that stuff close to your chest. So I think using the internet and kind of its decentralized methods, get out there. There's, especially with the way COVID is now, things have reset, and there is lots of opportunity. There's all these DJs that are Twitch DJs or started off kind of bedroom DJs. They've made a career on Twitch and doing really great things. So especially now with things kind of slowly reopening, get that music out there and get it to people's hands, and ask your friends for feedback, the ones that'll be honest with you. And
that's the trick, right? Like, not having your friends be brutal with you and tell you, you need to work on that more. That's not everybody is comfortable doing that. That's actually something like in classes we'll do, is like everybody shares their work, and we talk about like critical listening and how to really break things down, and everybody should share with each other, their constructive criticism in a precise way. That's like a skill to learn with yourself too, to like look at your own stuff and be honest with yourself. Like, is this really done? Is this really good enough? To know that it takes time. Max also asks, what's the best way to get attention of a label nowadays? And I'll add to that, should you even bother? Do you need to get the attention of a label nowadays?
I think it's important, depending on the label. I think that you should be listening to what the label is releasing at the time. They tend to have a little bit of a reach. For me, I've always kind of tended to I'm kind of piggybacking off Hiroko, what she said earlier. A lot of the stuff I was sending, I didn't take the time to listen to what the label was releasing. So I think it's important to
and really, it changes, right? Right.
It changes constantly. So I think that just listening to what the label is releasing and trying to keep on par with it, I think it's important. And
it doesn't make sense to send your music to anyone that's not releasing music like you make.
Right.
I mean, there are eclectic labels. There are labels that just want to put out whatever's good. So fine, go take that into account. But if a label's only putting out like dark, cavernous Berghain techno, and you send them something happy and fluffy with chord stabs and a big build up and breakdown with like melodies, they're not going to take it. So don't bother sending it. Like, look for the labels that suit you.
And I think it shouldn't discourage you either. I think you shouldn't take that kind of thing personally, and just keep trying and going to different labels. I mean, it's going to eventually get picked up if you believe in your product. Yeah.
Always. No, that's good advice. But then we also have the opportunity to like self-publish more easily than ever. And, there's so little money to be made, even on good labels, getting, if you're trying to like make royalties, there's so little. Even, you really have to be one of the biggest artists on one of the bigger labels to actually have that add up.
And is that even a priority for a lot of artists? Some are trying to make a living out of it. Mm-hmm. Some want more notoriety and fame from it. I mean, I think you have to set your expectations right. The whole game has changed, right? We know that.
Sure.
So, like, in the past, like if we were doing vinyl releases, if you were able to get vinyl out, because it wasn't cheap putting vinyl out, that was another kind of
still isn't
a leg up on some of the others that weren't even putting tunes out, right? So, I don't know.
Your drummer started again, hasn't he? I'm hearing the
yeah.
Sorry, Orlando. Go ahead.
He's thumping.
Oh, I was gonna say there's a lot of routes to take. I mean, there's so many tools like Bandcamp, and you can just release your own stuff, and it's not too hard to get in touch with a distributor and push
the
your own.
feedback thing is key. You're not helping anybody blowing smoke about how great it is. If it's not really great, you're not really helping them, right? Totally. So I've done tons of stuff and submitted tons of stuff that were garbage, and maybe like little disillusioned on how good it really was or wasn't, so accurate feedback is critical for anyone, new or old, right?
Sure. I still value it. I mean, I'm not releasing as much as I used to, but I still make stuff. Actually, a lot of times I get ideas when I'm teaching, and I may, I'll be demonstrating something. It doesn't always work because, students have different styles. And, if I'm into making like techno or electro and they're into something completely different, then it may not all match up. But every now and then I come up with something in class and it turns into a track. But I haven't felt I'm not supporting myself doing, playing the traveling DJ and releasing all the time game anymore. And it's actually kind of freeing to just, I'm still making music all the time. I'm sharing what I do with the students and showing them things. And then every now and then I get inspired to like, oh, I'm going to make this into something. I like this. And
yeah, you really have to do it for yourself. And, I think part of social media and the internet is this kind of exaggeration of like what DJ life and success can be. You're seeing like the top 1% out there, right? Who are really like killing all the festivals and making all this money off their music. And there doesn't mean they're the best in the game necessarily. Doesn't mean they're terrible either. But it also is like, you have to be realistic that there is this gray in between, and it's okay to be there, right? That some people like your music and it's great that some people are purchasing it, but you're not necessarily going to be this superstar producer who's got 10 million plays on Spotify. And, if you are making music, and like a lot of people I know, that's all we know how to do with our time. That's our entertainment, right? It's not just like a thing we do. It's also fun. So you might as well put it out there if you think it's ready to go, but be realistic about what you think is going to happen with it, right? Because sometimes, it's disheartening when you release a track and you're really excited about it, and man, it's got 2 sales or something on Bandcamp, and it's your friends that felt bad who bought it, right? But,
that's so real. That is so
think
real.
about the music that comes out just because an artist, DJ, a label wants to put it out, but they're not really driven to sell a lot. They're just like, this is a creative outlet. This is part of the process of doing something they love, Hiroko kind of set my ass straight here recently. She was saying about, hobby versus a job, use the term she used, a professional musician. Like, people buying our music, like, she puts the time in, whether anything happens in the studio or not, like putting consistent time in. And it really kind of rattled me a little bit, like I haven't had the need to like rely on music. Fortunately, I'm blessed in that regard. I won't get into the specifics, but
he's rich.
But yeah. So stupid. That was uncalled for.
Knives out.
Man. You're gonna derail me here. Shit.
All right. You were talking about how
anyway. Yeah. So, but yeah, it just made me kind of commit myself, I guess, to just stepping up and making it more than kind of what I kind of only saw it as for a long time, for me. So just kind of devoting myself, I guess, to music and what I really love, what I've always loved, so.
That's great. I mean,
and then both of these guys, I'll just say, Ben, they kind of pull me into a lot of things, through collaboration or discussion. We clown a lot more than we have serious discussions, but their devotion to what they're doing has helped kind of relight the fire for me too. So
that's important.
I thought I needed to say that.
I mean, it's maybe I like a lot of what you just said there. I agree with that. And then collaborating and being around or communicating with, whether it's in person or online now, if you have to do it remotely, finding a core of people that you can be creative with and inspire each other somehow it's really hard to do. Very few people can do this in isolation. You have your occasional like genius person who can just do everything, and then everything that's the other side of the one. There's like a 1% of people that can be super successful and make lots of money and get lots of work and have people come to them, and there's skill there too, whether it's musical or not. But then there are people that are like just so incredible as artists, whether they are financially successful or not, that just know how to do everything really well musically. But I'm not one of those people. I like working with people. I like collaborating with people. Most of my favorite music I've ever done was as a team, not on my own. There's stuff I did on my own that I'm really happy about. But like the stuff like working with Christian Smith for years, like he's a good friend of mine and we really clicked in the studio as well as having a really tight friendship. So that kind of stuff is so valuable. So like, Hyperactive influenced Hiroko Yamamura and Submerge, and now you guys are all working together in different ways, and then you're just talking about how Hiroko has inspired you to look at things differently, and that's like I love that. There's so much love in this room right now. I love it.
She wasn't being snipey either. She was just being a matter of fact. So
it's one of those things that like it is rare that your real homies are into the same things you're into, right? Like so I think the three of us are really lucky that we've remained friends for as long as we have. We're into the same things, and it creates a good energy, and it's funny when we get to pick on each other
all the time.
Yeah, when I say collaborative, I didn't mean like how much work we're doing together, because I'm the slowest of the three. I'll say that. I'll just bring that up.
Collaboration can happen on many different levels. It could just be ideas you throw around, but then you're in the studio on your own. And
it's all intertwined and related. If it's gigs or tours or, playing now versus when, just staying connected, I guess. Yeah.
Well, that's, again, doing this stream every week that's a big part of it. And then me doing these Techno Friends episodes that's also for me. Like I love having this opportunity to, I'm only acquainted with you guys. We've never really hung out and talked before. So that's amazing. And also the name for these episodes I do, Techno Friends, when I was younger, Techno Friends was like my personal kind of, it was more of a negative connotation because I used to be going out and traveling and meeting people and like, you're all, we're at the party and we're friends, and then you never talk to them. So Techno Friends were like quote unquote friends.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, I'm older. I'm not traveling as much. I value things and look at things in a totally different way. And I flipped it. Now, like, it means something more. And so thanks. Thanks for joining in.
Yeah, you're welcome. Of course.
And there's been
we're on the final stretch here. Huh?
Yeah, no, it's we only got 5 or 6 minutes left. The time flies, right?
Yeah.
It goes quick.
When you first start, you're like, oh my God. And then by the end of it, what happened? Like it just in an instant. And we've done some really nice conversation here. And also thanks to Max for throwing those questions out. Those were really good. Let's check in with the chat a little bit. Enigmatic Onion asks, did I miss the giveaway? And I don't know, because normally I get a post in here from 343 Labs with the link. It's not here. So maybe there's not a giveaway this week. I'm sorry if that's true.
Hiroko has a bunch of gear.
Oh yeah, are you giving away something?
Like a storage on the shelf.
Maybe we'll do a little like bingo game afterwards in Discord or something.
There you go. You're going to start a Discord, right?
Yeah, I think so. People have recommended it to me, but I got really confused when I opened up Discord. So I'm going to take another stab at it.
You need like
it's just
a programmer.
I'm like too old for that kind of stuff or something. Like I looked at it and I was like, this is too much.
Well, I thought it was just streaming, and then I'm seeing threads come over for chats. I'm like, wait, are we still chatting?
You can do all of that. You're talking about here in this chat?
Discord.
Or just in Discord, yeah. I mean,
like
you can do audio, you can do video.
It's just all this information.
Yeah.
But you can play games in there, which is cool.
Looks like the giveaway winner has been drawn. So, okay. I don't know who it is. Usually I like to announce it. Oh, Andrew Duke is here. Do you guys know Andrew Duke? He's been around in music scene since the 90s. He's up in Halifax.
Sounds familiar.
Nova Scotia? No. I don't know. Maybe I do know that.
I know he knows who you guys are. But yeah, he's been a regular. We know him. Jason and I know him from back in the Serotonin days, and
Nice.
he's a real techno friend, not a fake
You know
techno
why?
friend.
You know why I asked you that earlier? I saw a Lock Grooves compilation on Serotonin.
Oh yeah,
And I was like, that was John.
loops.
Yeah.
We did loops.
One on there.
and we
I don't
did
know if there's
loops
one or
again,
two on there.
And we never. Did we get one from you? We got one from
Yeah.
you. That's
Yeah.
Jason
I
got
had
it
it
from
a-
you.
Yeah.
How old is that?
90
remember that.
something. 95, 4
Yeah.
or 5.
Nice.
Somewhere in the
Something
mid
there.
90s. We always talked
Yeah.
about doing a third. The first one did the best. The second one did okay.
Should have brought it.
We always wanted to do a third one, and in fact, we collected a bunch of loops for the third one, but it never got finished. I've got to I actually have my boxes of DATs out here. I was ready to go through a bunch of them, and then my DAT machine. It's a long, horrible story. It died, and then it got fixed, and then I got it replaced, and then that one died. DAT machines are on their last legs in the world. I don't know if you noticed this. It's really tough to keep it going.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have a bunch of stuff.
I dumped it all and had David help me with a bunch of stuff too. Truncate David.
So you got everything. You went through all the tapes.
There's nothing left. Yeah, I backed them all up, but there's like glitches on some of them
That's the hard part. They don't all play back. So they break sometimes. We use those long tapes that are too thin and they snap. I have a couple of those. I don't even know what's on them, which is a real shame. But we got our winner now. Congratulations to Kate Polyak Brown. You have won the Arturia VST of your choice. That is an awesome giveaway. Congratulations.
Wow. I want to win one of those.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if you qualify as a guest on the show, but maybe next time.
Hey, next time I'll be a viewer.
Absolutely. Yeah. You've been watching. I appreciate that. I see you in the chat.
I always tune in. It's a great show.
We didn't even get into the whole in the box versus out of the box stuff, VSTs. We didn't even go there. Maybe one day.
Maybe one day. There's so much other stuff we could talk about. Yeah, I even had this set up. I'm gonna show off now. Before we go, we're almost done. But
oh, look at that!
I've been such an in the box producer for years and years now. I mean, I was an early adopter. I was like Cubase VST. I don't have to have hardware anymore. This is great, and I just ditched it. And then before Ableton Live, I was using Acid. Remember Acid? SoundForge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
To do just loops and samples, and I just switched over to that, and then Ableton Live, and I was like, that's it. All Ableton Live from version 4, but I have this hardware sitting around. This is Christian Smith's TR-909.
It's funny because your head's smaller, but your hand's really big.
Wait.
Come on. I'm trying to get the perspective right. It's throwing me off.
I'm sorry.
I got to remember.
I'm not an expert at this video stuff. This is all new to me. Like what to do with, hey, what's up? So yeah, this is Christian Smith's 909, and I've been holding this almost like hostage for 15 years maybe. It's been sitting here. Occasionally using it, but it's been in storage. I did lend it out to Matthew Johnson for a live gig once, and then it came back broken.
Wow.
No, it's okay. I think it was a power thing. It wasn't anything he did. It's like it was like unstable power, and the promoter paid for the. No, it didn't get wet. The promoter paid for the repair, so that was nice. But not to give him a hard time. I just thought it was funny. You can pull his leg about it a little.
Shots fired.
Not at all. Actually, I heard he's starting a music school. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, I heard it booked up already.
Wow. That's fast.
Yeah.
Well, interesting. I'm
Go
curious.
Matthew Johnson.
I might reach out and ask him about it because I'm interested.
Composite Particles is not happy.
Techno people doing schools. That's interesting. But yeah.
Composite Particles is not too happy, John.
What's that?
Composite Particles. How long have you had the 909? Well, all right. First of all, I used to own my own 909 since I got mine in like the early 90s. I want to say like 91. And you're gonna get mad when I tell you how much I bought it for. You ready?
Yeah,
$200.
Wow.
I bought mine.
I sold it for $900.
That's like getting rid of Bitcoin.
I know, right? I sold it for $900. Christian's been asking me to like sell this for years, and I keep saying, you should hold on to it. It's just getting more and more valuable. But I think he's really put, like, now it's time to sell it. So if anyone's interested in Christian Smith's 909, it's available for sale soon. But you want to hear it?
Yes.
Sounds all right.
You're just making us jealous right now.
Yeah.
It's so weird to see my arm sticking out like that.
You're very limber.
Where'd the ride symbol go?
You don't have it out.
I thought I did. Wait a minute. There we go.
Yeah.
Wow.
It still sounds good.
Let it play another minute.
Amazing.
I'm recording this. Let it go another minute.
Yeah.
And you can release it?
He's gonna dub some
remix
vocals over it.
Yeah, well, I'll remix it. I already volunteered the other two. How are you triggering it? With the rim shot?
Yeah, it's just a rim shot going into right there.
Nice. That sounds dope. There you go.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Very nice.
That's ready to go.
Very good.
I was
Good to go.
inspired. I was like, what could I do that's like, because I was listening to your old tracks and like the early Hyperactive stuff, and it's literally like a drum machine and a 101 and maybe another little stab or something like that. And how much, again, like what I was talking about earlier, how much power you can get out of that.
There was more than two
101
things.
sound.
There was more than two things going. It was a rarity, you know.
Yeah, but again,
But two was usually the max.
they were rocking. They jacked. They had power, and you know, it was techno, it was house, it was kind of rave too. It was like
very raving influence.
So yeah, I definitely, as a DJ, I love having that
influenced
vibe.
the tempo. That influenced the tempo.
Yeah,
The whole rave
what got faster?
awakening. Yeah, it just brought everything a lot quicker. Even in the traditional Chicago stuff wasn't that running. You know, it was a little more subdued. But yeah,
I think what I'm going to have to do is, because you know this 909 here isn't mine, and I can't keep continuing to hold it for Christian. I have to let
You
it
could
go.
send it here for a little while, and we'll like give it a gloss over, and
I'll have to set up like a rental agreement. Maybe can we? You know?
we'll use Joe's name.
All right. So yeah, I don't know if he'll be okay with that. We'll have to run it by Christian, but yeah, there are clones of it now. I mean, there's a Russian company doing a build-it-yourself clone of the 909 that looks really cool and sounds really good, and those are like $1,000. But then you also have like the boutique version. Is that still available?
No, I think they discontinued it. I think they're selling for more now.
But even then, it's a few $100 as opposed to thousands, right? And I most of the time just use plugins and samples anyway. So
I haven't done a side by side. It would be good to hear it though.
Yeah, there's definitely
TR9.
Compared to like the new ones. Yeah, there's plenty of YouTube videos that have that.
Yeah, the JP8 sounded pretty close, I thought.
Yeah, I think Jason has
and the
one
Jupiter
of those,
8. Yeah.
if I recall. Composite Particle says he misses the drop bass network stuff. You did some stuff for them, right?
Yeah, early stuff, yeah.
I think. Oh, and he's mentioning Nava 909. That's the one I was thinking of. It's one of these. That's one of the newer hardware clones of the 909. That sounds pretty cool. But the clap isn't the same, apparently. I would miss that. The clap not sounding right on a 909.
Yeah.
I would definitely. That's not going to do it. You
Even more than the snare, I think the clap and the hats.
I think the snare is easier to copy.
Kick and ride, yeah.
Cool.
I don't really like the 909 snare. I like the 808 and 606 better.
I agree. If I had to choose, I would choose the 808.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't have a real, I've never had a real 808 either, but I also have, I got the Behringer, the RD8.
Did they fix the clock on that?
They did some kind of update to it. I know
I
there's
heard
an
the
issue.
clock kind of drifts on it.
I haven't noticed, but then again, I think it depends on what you're syncing it to or with. like how stable it is. Using it as a master clock seemed okay, but I don't mind a little drift.
That's why it's like they're holding back that 909 clone, because apparently there's some drift in the clock.
Clock drift is holding us up. Well, they're trying to do something cheaply, and I imagine that you run into issues.
Right.
They sound good though. I mean, going by, this RD8 sounds pretty darn close to the real thing. Close enough. We don't need to have the conversation about Behringer's business practices, but just looking at the instrument on its own, it's pretty cool for the price. It's very accessible. But this is a really small nerdy thing about 808 clones. The trigger out. You know how in electro sometimes you use the trigger as a sound? It's like the Egyptian lover trick where you put delay on the trigger and it does that metallic kind of cool zap. The trigger outs on the Behringer do not sound right for that use.
Is it just like a noise?
Yeah, it's just a little. It's just a pulse, right? It doesn't. It's just a click, but you put delay on it, and it sounds perfect with an electro beat. The boutique version of the 808, the trigger is perfect. It is the right trigger sound if you want to do that. So if anybody cares, if you're making electro and you want that sound, but you can also just have a sample of it, which is what I usually do. Hey, Abe Duquet's here. Abe Duquet is in the chat. What's up, Abe?
Nice, hey.
I feel like we're in overtime mode now. I was about to say goodbye to everybody and wrap up the chat, and then I was like, screw it, I'm going to turn the 909 on. Let's go. But yeah, I think it's about time to roll things up here. Abe Duquet mentions, yes, the trigger is a 5-volt pulse.
Nice.
Right, that's the right answer. You win Nerd of the Day. Abe Duquet, thanks very much. I thought I would be, because I started talking about it, but you put the exclamation point on the nerdy statement. So. Nice. Thanks again, guys, for being here. This was really great.
Thanks for having us.
All of you.
Thanks for having us. We really appreciate hanging out, and
quite welcome. I
can't wait to watch more.
Yeah, and maybe in the future. I don't know. We got to figure out the new schedule. I have a bunch of guests lined up, though. I'm gonna keep it pretty regular, at least through May, in terms of the guests. But maybe we can talk about doing a more focused thing sometime, like a specific production technique, or
Sure.
Yeah, we'll be in touch about that.
Let's get a little jam going soon.
Or that's the other side of it. I've been talking about doing the whole Ninjam thing, not wanting to totally ride Joachim's coattails or anything.
Let's do it.
He's taking a pause right now. I think they just finished their season, so maybe now's a good time to go, hey, let's do a little thing. So 303 Orchestra, should we do it? Or something like that?
Yeah.
I think as many 303s as we can get.
But software allowed or just hardware?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter,
just
right? See how many people can fit on the server?
Overload the world. Yeah.
I think one of those Ninjam servers can be 8 people, maybe a little more. It's not, you can't go totally crazy, but that still would be a lot of fun.
20 minimum.
We'll see what we can do. I'll let you know if we get it set up.
It'll be the most acid song ever made.
Completely over the top acid. Sounds good to me.
Love it. Thanks again. I really appreciate that.
Quite welcome. Hopefully we'll have you back. And thanks to everyone in the chat. Composite Particles, Joe Traband, Live Society, Simple Sam is here. Yes. And of course, Jason Sostek, Schmer Records. Abe came in. There's a regular on Twitch, DJ Sweaty Sack. He's always here. That's great. Nice. I can't go through everybody's names, but anyway, thanks again, Max, for those good questions earlier. And that's going to be it for today. We'll see you not next week, but keep your eye out for our upcoming schedule. I think things are going to shift around a little bit, but I'm still going to be on Saturdays. So again, thanks everyone, and see you when we see you. Adios.